We are live. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the Sensational Sex Podcast launch party. We are so excited to be joining you guys tonight. And please forgive us. This is our first time using this particular platform, StreamYard. And you guys probably don't know this about me and Dr. Trina, but we often have technical challenges. So we're kind of...
No, I'm the one who has technical challenges. Let's just be upfront about that. Amy just sort of comes and fixes everything behind me. So it's me.
Well, we are so excited to be here with you guys. Comment and let us know when you are watching. So just let us know that you're here, where you're watching, what you're doing, and we are so thrilled. We have quite the evening planned for you guys. So it's going to be fantastic. We've got special guests coming on. We are doing a giveaway at the end. So whenever you tune in, make sure that you watch to the end of the broadcast because we are doing a giveaway for people who are with us then. And if you are catching the replay, if you aren't able to watch us live right now, totally fine. You're catching the replay. We're so glad to have you. Please drop a comment if you're catching the replay. Just say replay because we'd like to know who's here so we can grade you. So, Dr. Trina, can you believe this day is finally here?
You know, what people don't realize is behind the scenes, putting a podcast together, we have been working for 6 months, putting the Sensational Sex podcast together. And, you know, a lot of ideas, and, you know, it took us a while to ferment and figure this out. But I think we've come up with a really exciting podcast that you'll want to listen to. Or at least I hope you'll want to listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, actually, I don't think we talked about this on our first episode, which launches tomorrow at 5 a.m. Eastern time. But how did this podcast even come about?
Okay, so going back, I have been doing this for 25 years, and I've had 2 other podcasts that were on my own. And so when I was doing podcasts 10 years ago, it was a very different thing. If you wanted to do it properly, you had to like go into a studio, and it was a whole deal. But now they've got all these softwares that you can just, and they're amazing. So I developed this program called the Sex Boot Camp, and I knew I wanted to expand this into a podcast. And serendipitously, Amy came into my life, and I thought, you know what, she's a good partner for me, and fingers crossed she'll want to do this with me. So I approached Amy and I said, hey, what do you think? And she was gracious enough to say, absolutely, let's do it. And I think the reason I picked Amy is she and I are very different people. We look at things, we're looking at the same thing with 2 very different sets of eyes and 2 very different sets of perspectives, which I think is very important, especially when we're talking about women's sexuality or couple sexuality, because for every woman that's on this earth, there's a different way to have sex. So I just think the more perspectives, the better. And I really appreciate the perspective that Amy brings to our podcast. So I'm quite the academic. I've got the academic side locked down, and then Amy brings this other side, which I feel like really just adds so much to the listener experience. And what was your story, Amy?
You know, it's so funny because a lot of people who are watching who've connected with me, especially over the past year, including our next VIP guest who is backstage in studio right now. When I started my sexology training, I decided to go ahead and host my first intimacy summit. And so I did my first one last year, and then I did another one this year. And when I do these summits, I try to find really just fantastic, dynamic speakers. And I actually, what people don't realize is there's a lot of work that goes into that too. I do a lot of research on my speakers, and I go through and I stalk people, and I try and find, their information. And I really try to choose people that I think are going to be absolutely fantastic. And that's how I found our next speaker. And that's how I found you, Dr. Trina, and I remember I came across your website and I just saw like all of the incredible things that you've been doing in this space for
A
like
long
25
time.
years for
A
quite a
long,
while.
long time.
And I was immediately starstruck. And then I went on your website and it says something like, I don't do free appearances anymore. And I was
No.
like, oh man.
No, I don't.
You know, but then there was a little coda that said, for just this month, because I have a new book coming out, I am choosing a few free appearances that I am open to doing. And I said, roll the dice, sent in the information, and you replied back so quickly. And that was it. That was sort of the beginning of how we met each other. And
yeah.
And that's how this came about. And so then we connected while we did my summit. And then when you sent me that email and said, hey, let's try doing this podcast together, I was like, absolutely. So if you're just now joining us, sorry, I'm just gonna say, if you're just joining us, make sure, just say hi, let us know that you're watching. So go ahead and comment, let us know that you're here. We have some really fun things coming up. Watch to the end of the podcast. We're not podcast today. Watch to the end of the broadcast today, and we will be giving away some really fun prizes. So, but make sure you comment so that we know that you're here. Because if we don't know that you're here, then we can't give you a prize. So we got to know that you're here. So, what were you?
Yeah. So I just want. No, it's fine. I just wanted to tell people a little bit about what our podcast is about. So I wrote this book called Sex Boot Camp, and it's 25 years of my experience and academic work and working with thousands of women. And, it's everything I've ever learned, all encapsulated in a workbook. And so what the Sensational Sex podcast does is every week, so it's a weekly podcast, and every week we take one thing like mindset or shame or one thing, and we do a deep dive into it. But I think more importantly, we give ideas at the very end of the podcast that you can use today to remedy that situation. And my intent was, so I've created this whole story arc of what these podcasts are going to be over the next year. And if you listen every week and do one small change, one easy and small change every week, I promise you will seamlessly move into this woman who has a very fulfilling, very juicy sex life. You start asking for the sex you want or don't want, and then you lean into the pleasure that you asked for. And and I feel like if you can do this very easily by just listening to us once a week. And Amy, why don't you tell them about our bonus episodes?
Oh, our bonus episodes are so fun. I love that you came up with these ideas. So we're calling them, we don't know the answer, but we'll try. And basically we've been looking through. Dr. Trina found kind of these controversial posts on a lot of them are on Instagram and things like that, and it's just a question where someone's like, how much sex is the normal amount of sex to have, right?
How much sex is normal? I don't know. I don't know the answer, but we'll try and give you an answer.
Yeah. And they've been
then Amy found this really great one. It's called No Nut November. I've been doing this for 25 years. No Nut November has been around for 21 years. And this was the first time I found out about it. I don't know if I've just been living under a rock. I'm not sure, but it was a really interesting bonus. And that comes out in November, doesn't it? Yeah.
So we just had fun, kind of going and diving into some of these questions, some of these topics that come up, and discussing them. And I think what's also interesting is you and I have sometimes we have similar viewpoints, but sometimes we have very different viewpoints.
Mm-hmm. And that's important. It's important to have different viewpoints.
Yeah. But I think what I really loved about what we've created, and really what Dr. Trina has put so much work into writing, and I just get to kind of show up and read and participate, which I'm very grateful for. But taking a common question, a common issue that women in long-term relationships are experiencing, and breaking it down, and then we provide 4 or 5 typically little micro tips, and we say, apply this to your sex life tonight or this week or this month, whenever it applies. But if you just implement one of these little tips, and if you listen week to week to week, then you're basically getting your sex boot camp, you're getting my sex coaching, you're getting that for free through the podcast.
Yeah.
And so
that was my motivation for doing this. Is I just want every woman to have access to this information, and whatever her socioeconomic status, whatever it is, she can have this information. It's out there, and I hope she utilizes it. So we're giving, I'm so happy that we can give this information away.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Well, I want to, we have our first VIP guest hanging out backstage.
Hooray!
And so I want to go ahead and welcome her to join us. So I'm going to bring Heather Shannon.
Hi, Yay! Heather. Hey, Thank you for joining us.
Oh, we can't
hear you. Are you on mute?
Oh, yep. Can't hear you. Nope. Still can't hear you. Tech problems. It's us. It's not you.
So I'm going to talk about our wonderful sponsor, Xsense. Yes. They're out of France, and they offer sensuality products, and they're just off the hook. They're so wonderful, and we're just so grateful to Xsense for sponsoring us on our launch. You'll be meeting Rebecca, who's exotically beautiful and a wonderful person, coming up in just like a half an hour. Wait till you meet Rebecca. She's really something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Heather, are we happy now?
Yay! You made it.
You would think I don't have a podcast, given I didn't figure out my microphone, but yeah.
Welcome, Heather. We are so happy to have you here. Heather is the host of the wildly popular Ask a Sex Therapist podcast. And I have to just personally say very publicly, thank you, because this whole podcast launch party idea, all of this, a lot of these ideas came from Heather's podcasting masterclass. So if you are thinking of launching a podcast, you definitely want to tune into that. I'm going to let her tell you more about some of those different things. But thank you. We're so glad that you're here today.
Thank you. And that was very sweet of you. I love podcasting as a platform. It's one of the very few places that we're not censored when we're talking about sexuality. And so then I also think it makes it one of the best places to get your information about sex, where you can actually learn from professionals speaking freely. So that's important. And I'm excited. I mean, Amy, you do so much. Like, I forget, you listed some things you'd done or something recently, and I was like, I hope you're gonna like sleep now for a very long time.
And she has 3 kids. And
I don't even know. But yeah, I'm excited to meet you, and I love that you guys are bringing 2 different perspectives. It's very exciting.
So tell us about your podcast. I'm sure everybody what is it about?
Yeah, it's a sex podcast also. So it's Ask a Sex Therapist, and kind of similar to what you were saying, where you're like, I just want everyone to have this information. My first 15 episodes or so are basically like a masterclass in sex therapy and like all the common things that people struggle with. But as I've gone along, I'm getting close to 100 episodes, which is like,
wild. Congratulations. That's
Thank
wonderful.
You. I know. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get more organized with all of my content. But yeah, it's been really fun, and it's been great for networking. You get to meet so many cool people. So many people are willing to have conversations with you just because you have a podcast. So that's been a blast. I have like some new friendships because of it. And I think it's just like, you're actually impacting people's lives. It's very weird because people will be listening to you, and some of your friends or family will wind up listening to your show, which is also interesting when you have a sex show.
Yeah.
My parents dropped out after like episode 10, and I think that was the right choice. But my sister-in-law and my mom's boyfriend still listen pretty regularly.
Oh gosh. So I have something for us to discuss.
Oh sure.
Which I think is relevant. So. A lot of people think I'm a therapist. I'm not a therapist. I'm an educator. And I feel like there's, like in my world, there's a big difference between sex education and sex therapy. Does that make sense to you? Oh, so yeah. I'm talking. So when I'm talking to women, I'm talking to women who are in long-term relationships who don't present any dysfunctions or abuse or anything like that. They're just the average woman in an average relationship. They might have hit a rut. Yep. Yeah, did you have any comments on this? So for me, like there's a big distinction between listening to our podcast where women are going to get some ideas on, how to get their mojo back, and then listening to your podcast, which is dealing in therapy.
So I don't actually work as a therapist. So it's confusing because I'm licensed as a therapist and I'm a certified sex therapist, but I do work more as a coach. And so it's kind of this like hybrid where I bring, obviously I've been a mental health therapist since 2006. So like I'm clearly bringing the mental health knowledge.
Yes.
And I'm also trained as a couples counselor through the Gottman Institute. And so there's a lot of that I'm bringing. I'm not going to not bring it, but at the same time, then this is actually fascinating that you're asking this, because a lot of like diagnoses in the sort of sex therapy world aren't like covered by insurance. They're kind of like not fully legitimized in some ways, in sort of the medical insurance world. So it's like, even if I were to like be treating certain diagnoses, it's like, and I think it just speaks to where we're at as a culture. It's kind of like, oh, those don't count. We're not going to cover those. That's just sex,
Yeah. It's the most important thing to so many couples.
Anyway. Right. It's only the reason why like a lot of marriages end, but
money and sex, right? Those are the two reasons most marriages end.
Exactly. I had someone I just followed up with that I did a consult with last week, and he was like, we actually just filed for divorce.
Wow.
Yeah. Today I got that text. I was like, shit, but it's pointing out that it's like people need this information and they're not getting it soon enough.
Yeah. So. I had someone that I consulted with, and he reached out to me and he said, I've met, the woman that I think that I want to marry. She's the love of my life. Everything is perfect except this one thing. And he's like, and in the bedroom, it's just, and he's like, and I don't want that to be the reason that we don't get married. He's like, but I don't want to knowingly enter into a marriage with this that has this issue. And and it's so challenging.
Yeah.
Because it, again, when you're looking at, decades, if things aren't clicking in the beginning,
it
just gets harder and harder. It just gets harder. So
it does. And I mean, I think it does get twisted a little bit. I think sometimes people think that, sex is kind of superficial, or that shouldn't be the most important thing, or, like that's just about like getting off. And so they deprioritize it, and they hear like you should marry your best friend, which I also think could be a great idea, but marry your best friend who you want to have sex with and who you have great sex with.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I think all of us bring limited skills into our partnership, and there's always an opportunity to learn. And I feel like if that part isn't there yet, it could be there if there's chemistry. So it's like, I think the question I would ask to that man is, do they have chemistry together? Because you can learn how to have sex. You can't learn how to have chemistry with somebody else.
Yeah. And he's, I'm trying to remember that conversation, but it sounded like it sounded to me, and I didn't get to speak with her, right? And so, and that was part of it, was I can't coach you to coach her. I was like, we can try. I said, but she has to be part of this conversation. And whether or not she's willing to come in and be part of that conversation or not, is a whole other thing. But, I was like, but, yes, do I feel like if we can get all three of us into a room or into a Zoom together, that we can make some progress if she's willing to come and join and be a part of the process? 150,000%.
Yeah.
So,
okay, I've got a good question. Okay. So what's some of the best advice you've had from all these amazing therapists, 100 therapists you've had on your 100 shows?
Yeah, love that one.
I mean, it is fun because like I get to pick things I want to learn about and have those guests on. Sometimes I also pick like what my audience needs to hear, of course, but luckily they're the same things. I think some of the fun stuff to talk about is like different kinks or fantasies. So like Dr. Kate Balistreri and I have had some fun conversations about hot wifing and cuckolding and financial domination. We just did one on threesomes that came out this week, which is the #1 fantasy, according to Justin Lee Miller's research. So that was, so that was kind of fun and interesting. So a lot of it's not necessarily that I'm learning like a ton of new things, although I've had Tantra experts on. Magda K is great. And so we had a great conversation about that. And that's not an area where I'm an expert. I just have like a tiny bit of knowledge. And so, yeah, just understanding that, like, how do you play with energy, and like, what are some ways where, like, if the chemistry isn't firing on all cylinders, where you can at least create more sexual tension, you know, and what does that look like to kind of lean into that? So that's been kind of fun. I had an improv coach on there. You know, I think there's so much to learn relationally from improv, and like almost sort of like letting go of too much structure and techniques, and just like being really present, and like getting over our fear of rejection and going for it. So that was a fun one too.
That's awesome. Yeah. And and you know, I think one thing that I really love about your podcast too, because I'm subscribed and I listen to it, and when I don't have children in the car, which isn't too often, but when they're not there, I love to listen to your podcast. But I love how you really explore just really the wide breadth of all that there is in the sexual experience. And because there, you know, it's you know, we talk about sort of the challenge side of intimacy, and then the exploration side of intimacy. And once you are able to get out of the challenge side and move into the, you know, I think there's the challenge side, then there's kind of like the I don't know, I don't say stagnant, but just kind of the dating side. And then there's the, let's explore and see what else is out there. And I think that when you can move, you know, when you move through those stages, but I think moving into that exploration side is where, you know, that couples really, or couple, you know, thruples, all, you know, can really just.
I had a triad on the show. That was fun.
But just thrive and grow and explore it. And I think that's what keeps that novelty, that spice going on, you know, year after year.
I think it's a great point. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. Give your point, please.
I was just going to say, like, for me, it's kind of an outlet for my own curiosity in a lot of ways. And I think that is an important thing to bring to our sex lives, too, is like, stay curious, you know, like, imagine all the possibilities.
I really like that you're giving people permission. It's just like, you know, here's a triad. It may be for you and it may not be for you, but here we're giving you permission to see what it is, and you know, see if it's a good fit for you. That's
part of what I like, is like, let's present all these different paths that people are taking with their sex life, and just like learn something from it. It's like, most of the listeners aren't going to go have a throuple, you know, but are they going to still learn something from the throuple? Yeah, I think so.
So my other question is, as this is our launch, our Sensational Sex podcast launch, what would be your best piece of advice for us moving forward?
I thought about this before.
Oh, did you? Oh, good. I asked a good question. Yay!
It's kind of basic. Keep going. That's like my main advice. Like, there's going to be moments, like, and there's been moments for me, even though I am generally passionate about it and enjoy the curiosity, it's like, it's still kind of like, oh God, I gotta find some more good guests, or like, oh, those guests that I tried to reach out didn't get back to me, or like, oh, our downloads are down for the summer and we're putting all this work into it, you know. And it's just like, keep going. And I think that's where the magic happens. That's
after doing this for 25 years, you're absolutely spot on. It's the ones who stay in the game that succeed, for sure. Great advice.
Yeah. So, and have fun. I love that you guys are doing it together too. I think it's so nice to like bring the two different perspectives and share the work, and, you know, bring your unique talents to it. So I think people are going to really like that.
I hope so. I hope people enjoy it. We've worked very hard on this. So, you know,
as you know, and you're doing it by yourself. Like, we get to divide, you know, which is refreshing, because
Well, I mean, I had a launch team. Like, I don't think people realize like how much work goes into this.
Yes.
But it's like I did a ton of work, and I had other people finding music for me and doing art for me and whatever else, and giving me email templates, you know. And it's like, and it was still like a surprising amount. But it is. It's a labor of love, and so I hope that your audience just like loves and appreciates it so much. And you guys are gonna get like. You're going to have some like emotional moments, I think, in a good way with like the launch, and just like soak it up, you know, it's pretty cool.
Well, we hope. Thank you. That's great.
Thank you so much. Well, and so Heather, and I know we need to say goodbye in just a couple minutes, but tell people where can people find you? Where can they listen to you? Do you have anything promoting that you want to share with everyone? Tell us all about it.
I mean, I'm launching a ethical non-monogamy group coaching program to support people who are just kind of exploring that journey and figuring out what they want and navigating, you know, all the different attachment styles and jealousy and calendar issues. So that's a thing. And if people want to connect with me in whatever way, I would say my website's the best place. It's just my name, heathershannon.co. It is not a .com. It's .co.
.co.
And my podcast is linked to there. I have some like free resources. I have a whole page of freebies for people. And then if people are interested in coaching, that's obviously on the website as well. So
great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing an awesome job and laying the groundwork for us and making it easier for us to do this. And thank you for putting together that a master plan. It was very comprehensive and very well done. So thank you for doing that for us.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys used it, and I want
we did
out in the world.
It did. Yes, it was very good. So
thank you.
Well done, you.
All right. It was good to meet you.
Thank you, Heather.
Good to see you, Amy, and congrats. I'm really excited for you guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
All right. Well, we have just a couple minutes before our next VIP guest joins us. She just joined the studio, so
yay!
We'll welcome her. But I just love having Heather. She's just so much fun. But what I did want to mention is we are doing a 4-day launch challenge.
This is really exciting. Amy did this. I don't know. Heather was just talking about how much work it is to put a launch together. And on top of everything else, Amy did this 4-day launch challenge.
Well, the launch team was me and my right-hand woman, Katie, who is my sanity and my organization and all of that. So we were the launch team. And but the 4-day launch challenge, we're really excited about it. It starts tomorrow, and it is free to register. There's a link right there that you can see. It's bit.ly, and it's SSP 4-day launch. The capitalization matters. So and I've also dropped it in the comments on all the socials. So it's really, really easy. You just register for it, and then you can either join a WhatsApp group or you will get emails. And there are just some very quick activities that you will do for 4 days. Most of them are going to take you less than a minute. It's things like our socials or rate a podcast. You know, they're easy things that won't take a lot of your time. And for every activity that you do, you will receive some points, and the person who has the most points at the end will win a gift card to get some incredible Xsense products.
They're wonderful. The Xsense products are just out of this world. They're just amazing. So
yes,
win that gift card. Win it.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone who participates, if you get a minimum number of points, a certain number of points, then you will also get a gift card to my intimacy shop as well. So everyone will get that. And the person who has the most points will be able to get some amazing Xsense products. So
and it would be really amazing if you could go right this second and follow us on your podcast medium of choice. So if you're on Spotify, if you can go and follow us, Sensational Sex Podcast. We're just starting out, and we would just appreciate that so much. It means so much to us if you follow us.
Absolutely.
And when you listen to our podcast tomorrow when we launch, if you review us, like it just makes such a big difference for beginner podcasts. So we thank you if you could do that for us.
Yeah, and there'll be 3 episodes dropping tomorrow. So we'll be talking about that in just a little bit. So I think we are ready to welcome our next VIP guest. So I'm so excited to have Dr. Diane Mueller. I'm going to go ahead and welcome her to the stage. Here is Dr.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, Dr. Trina. Hi, Amy.
It's so good you're joining us. Thank you.
Oh, it's so good to be with you both again.
We're so happy to have you. Dr. Diane was a guest on my last Intimacy Summit. She is the co-host of the Libido Lounge podcast. She is the libido doc, and she's doing all sorts of amazing things. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about all the crazy, amazing things that she's doing. So we're so happy to have you.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. And I feel like this world of libido and sexuality, it's like it just unfolds and it unfolds and unfolds. So right now I'm in the process of writing a 3-part book series on the physical and the personal and the interpersonal reasons behind low libido. So we'll focus in the first part on hormones and circulation and neurological system and stress and pelvic floor function and all those things. And then going on in book 2 and 3 to talk a little bit more around like, how well do you know your body? What are your needs, wants, preferences, and desires, right? Do you have vaginal pain? Do you have trauma? Do you have shame? How do you talk to your partner about it in so many ways? So those are the things I'm working on. But like I said, people are
Diana, you're checking all my boxes. Check, 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 check.
Right. There's so many. And that's what's so fun about this field. It's so deep. I had conversation with somebody the other day, and I don't know if you ladies have thought about offering this, but her question for me is like, when are you going to offer the class that teaches parents how to talk to their kids about sex?
Yeah.
So it's a really fun world we work in, because there's just so many different ways we can support and help community. So that's what I'm working on right now, but we'll see where it all goes.
I love that. I love the different parts of this because, and as we know, sexual intimacy challenges they're so multi-layered, right? There's sometimes it's all intertwined, sometimes they're separate, but there's the medical piece, there's the psychological piece, the relationship piece, the emotional piece, and the pelvic floor, there's just so many different sides to it, and being able to look at and put all of those together is so powerful, because the reality is when most people are experiencing some sort of intimacy challenge, they might be going to talk to their OBGYN. Well, their OBGYN may or may not be well-versed in hormones. They, don't have the time to really help with the emotional relationship side of it. And so then, okay, well, we're going to go see the OBGYN. Well, now I got to go see the pelvic floor therapist. Now I've got to go talk to my therapist. Oh, my therapist isn't trained in talking about sexuality issues. And so it's just, I think a lot of people get frustrated and then just kind of give up because they don't know where to turn.
That, and I think there's a huge need to just like normalize the conversations, right? That's why I'm so excited about what you ladies are offering in this new podcast, because it's another door in for people when it's so easy, because this is still so taboo. So I think it's another door in for people to say, oh, I'm not alone. Like, these are like human topics, and these are human conversations that so many people experience. But yet, because there's not this safe space, or because it's like still taboo and there's still some censorship in the world around talking about sex, it's so easy to feel isolated in the conversation.
Yeah. And I really like that like you say, you're opening up the conversation. And speaking of which, if you could give one of your best ideas or tips or something like that from one of your books, what would that be?
Oh gosh, the one of the
there's so many.
There's so many, but I love these little quips, these short sayings, because they stick, right? So one of my favorite short sayings is that pleasure is not just about desire, but something that we require. And I love that, right?
Love that.
And the
Oh my
reason
gosh.
for that is so many times I think it's like we're taught that sex is that thing, that intimacy thing is that thing that I will get to if all the other things are done and I still have energy, right? And in talking about like, okay, well, what really is, why is this something that is just not about desire? Why is it something that we require? I love looking at the research behind oxytocin. Like, we know that oxytocin, the love cuddle hormone, improve serotonin and dopamine. But I even read a study recently with all of this work in the world going on, GLPs, that peptide that has been used a lot for appetite control and weight loss that we make in our body. And there's now a study that's showing that oxytocin will improve a neurological mechanism that is very similar to GLP. And when combined with GLP, either what we make or what we take, it could perhaps make that GLP, that appetite control, that weight loss center actually work even better. So now it's like, oh my gosh, now we're not just talking about mood and happiness and sleep and stress. It's like good for cortisol reduction. Now we're talking about proper weight management. And so there's just so many more things that I think we're going to learn even in the coming years around this master hormone. And
yeah,
so
I always thought these were connected too, like our sleep and like, I think it's all interconnected, but sexuality doesn't get research. So, of course it's always lagging behind, but if you look at a brand new mom and she's just sleep deprived and, she doesn't want sex, and it's not because she doesn't desire a partner. She's just like tapped out. And like, so it's like then I think if we could research this a little bit more, we would see all these interconnections, just like you're saying.
Yeah. And the fun thing I think about seeing the interconnections is I imagine you ladies see this in your work too, around so much of the time when we give people like the reason why around like, oh, this is not just about sex, this is about all of these other things. Sometimes then it like helps us prioritize it. Cause I think it's really a priority, just like exercise or anything else. It's like that commitment to say, oh, I'm actually committing to make this something that I am prioritizing over something else. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the prioritization is really important. And, I think there's a switch that can happen in your mind, right? So for a lot of people, I'm stressed, I'm tired, children, job, blah, blah, blah. No, sex is like the first thing to go, right? The sex is like, nope, that's dropping to the bottom of my priority list. But then there's some other people that are like, when I'm really stressed, when I'm really tired, like the thing that I need most is that touch, is that oxytocin, is that connection with my partner, is that loving touch. And I'm going to prioritize that because that makes me feel really good. That helps get rid of the stress. That helps, and it's that right there. That's just a mindset shift, right? And which is something that we talk about in episode 2, 3.
We talk about it in every single episode.
Every single episode.
We talk about and we'll probably keep talking about it in every single episode because it's just a fundamental to your sexual happiness.
Yeah,
that
it
mind
is.
shift.
Yeah. And I think in our society, right, we need to hear things over and over again because it's breaking down. Like what I think is happening on your podcast is going to be happening is like breaking down some of these beliefs, right? Yeah. Around. So it's like we have this belief around like in our society around like go, work hard or get it. Not saying there's not some value to some of those things, but the detriment is that stress. So I'm glad you guys are repeating that so much on your show. I think even being in this field, like I still need to hear it a bazillion times.
So speaking of which, you've been doing this for a minute. What would you say your biggest, like your most common situation is with women? Like what do women come to you most for? Let's normalize it now.
Yeah, I love it. The most common client I get is somebody that's starting to enter like that perimenopause phase. So a woman who's been that perimenopause phase. Yeah, me too. And so like all of us, and the hormones are getting a little crazy and the hot flashes and the moods and all of the things, right? And of course, we know that sex drive can be all over the place with that and can look a lot of different ways. But, it's like so many women are the medical gaslighting that I feel that comes with the midlife transition is so real. Like women being told things like, well, all women go through this. So you just need to suck it up. Like I've literally heard that. So this is what we are unfortunately telling women. So a lot of times when people come into my clinic, it's, hey, we've seen a couple different people, we've had this told to us that this is invalidated, we are, curious about hormone replacement therapy, we're scared, our sex life is down the drain, we want to reconnect with our partner, but we don't even know how. So want it kind of things, as my book is titled. So that's really the most common person is long-term relationship, really, really cares about their partner, and has just felt that something has happened and they don't know exactly why. And everything is starting to tumble in their health out of control, but yet their doctor
and nobody's helping them.
Yeah.
I have a really quick story. So, out of the University of British Columbia, there is a research lab called SEMCOR. It's SCEMCOR. If you go semcor.com, it's an amazing for if you're looking for menstruation or perimenopause or menopause, it's an amazing resource. I saw the person, Dr. Geraldine Pryor, who's an endocrinologist, and she heads up SEMCOR. I saw her lecture 15 years ago, and she talked about how when she came out with her research on women's menopause, she was one of the only females talking about endocrinology as it pertains to menopause, and all the male doctors were just no, this is not working. What you're saying is not working. And she's like, well, I've got research I've got to validate. And they're like, well, no, it's not. This is not what science has said. That was done 50, 60 years ago by a bunch of men. I'm sorry, it's not credible. And she had to fight to get her research respected by male doctors. And you hear that and you think, what year are we in? That's only 15 years ago. And so I think even though things have progressed since then, I don't know how much has progressed, but it still feels like for a lot of women we're still a little bit stuck there.
Yeah, I mean, testosterone is still not approved at any age for females to use. So it's prescribing testosterone to a menopausal woman who's had all of her hormones, including testosterone, in the toilet. That's actually doing something that's off label. So to me, that also shows a very clear problem, right, around what we're telling people around oh, this isn't important, just get through it. If we're saying that, hey, there's not even FDA approval around this major hormone that's changing for women in menopause. Yeah,
I do think it is changing, but I do think we still need to have big conversations around it. We need to be talking about it, all of us, as a collective, we just need to keep talking about it, because otherwise women just suffer in silence and put up and shut up, and that's what we do.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so easy. And I don't know if you guys experience this, but I talk about some of this stuff so much that sometimes it's am I just boring the audience for this? Right. But there's so many people that need to hear this. And so I do think the repetition is really essential, because we have a lot of reprogramming to do in society around menopause, transition, around midlife, around hormones, all of these things.
Well, something that doesn't get talked enough about, and I don't know how much time we have left with you, but something that we need to talk about is, when women reach 45, it's actually a sexual awakening for many women. She starts to come into her body and into her sexual pleasure, so she's moving into perimenopause, which has all these crazy things happening, and yet she is also experiencing her sexual awakening. And I would like to emphasize more to women, instead of focusing on, it's hard not to focus on all the stuff that's going on in our bodies, but also put as much emphasis on your awakening, because you can go into your 50s and 60s and 70s having the most toe curling sex of your entire life. That is the possibility. So let's focus on that.
I so appreciate that. Last night, a friend of mine texted me and asked if I had any intentions for the new moon in the month. And one of my intentions for the month is really coming from my work and my purpose from driving people towards pleasure and not just away from pain. And I think the away from pain is important, right? Because that is oftentimes what drives us human beings. But I really appreciate that you brought that up, Dr. Trina. That just like fits, like circles me right back around to my intention this month. So we're totally in sync here around, yeah, there's so many things around confidence and around the sexual awakening, around finally setting the boundaries or asking for what you need and feeling oftentimes way more alive in our 40s and 50s than we got to feel in our, our teens, 20s and 30s. So I really appreciate you bringing that back to that. I think it's really important.
Yeah. Well, we all are there now in our lives. So I think we should all report back, like,
Well, Dr. Diane, we have to start to wrap things up. Before we do, what is exciting happening in your world? What do you want to share, promote? Go ahead and tell us the awesome things you've got cooking right now.
Yeah, well, you guys can always go and take my libido quiz at libidoquiz.com. So that's a super easy way to get just information from a standpoint of what are missing root causes of low libido. So definitely check that out. And like I said, my 3-part book series, you can find all my work. I have a lot of freebies on my website too, which is just mylibidodoc.com. One of the most exciting things is I'm working on an 8-part primetime TV show around women's health, sexuality, and libido. So I'm going down to film that next week.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
That'll come out sometime mid to end October. So I will be letting everybody know as I know the exact dates and details on that.
Well, if you let us know, we'll make sure to promote you on
Absolutely.
our social medias, because we want to lift you up. We want to lift you and women's sexuality up. So let us lift you.
Thank you. And I've already followed you guys, so I'm already doing my homework and I've checked out your WhatsApp group. So keep me posted on how I can help you guys as well, because it really is like we need a tribe to get this information out there. So it's such a pleasure to be chatting with you both.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on. It was nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you both. Enjoy the rest of your time and best of luck with your launch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diane.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was so awesome. Love having her.
That was a good conversation. I liked her idea of, we focus on the pain, but we need to focus on the pleasure, so that was a big learning for me too. Yeah. So make sure to join Amy's amazing 4-day launch. She's got things to do every single day that are easy, and you get to Amy, you get points for doing things, and then you can win things if you get so many points. And
it's easy. It's so easy. Okay. Because look, if you're anything like me, where I've got 3 kids, I spend all my time in the car driving around, and you're like, wait, you want me to do a what? Okay. I promise I made it really, really easy, because that's just how I like to do things for other people. But it's our 4-day launch challenge, because here's the thing. We need your help to help our podcast launch the top of the charts, get in front of more eyes, get in front of the people who need us. So the 4-day launch challenge, you can register right now. I'll drop the link into the comment section again. And it's just 4 days. There will be 2 little challenges each day. Most of them will take you less than a minute or 2 just to do. It's things like follow the podcast. It's like our socials, give us a review, things like that. And for every single activity you do, you're going to get some points. The person
things that you were going to do anyways, right? You were going to like and follow us. You were already going to do that, and now you get points for it.
And you get points. And the person who has the most points at the end is going to win a gift card from our incredible sponsor, our first sponsor, Xsens. And we're going to have Rebecca Panett from Xsens joining us a little bit later today. Now, if you are watching, make sure that you drop a comment so we know that you're here. We will be picking one lucky viewer of this podcast I keep saying podcast, this broadcast launch to win a prize. But we don't know that you're here unless you comment. So just drop a comment so we know that you're here. So far, I see Christina, what's up? And I see Paul. And I see lots of people kind of dipping in and out. So just comment when you're here so that we know that you're here, so that we can put you in to win that prize. So, here we go. Robin, I've got 2 Robins now. Awesome. See? Yep. Now that we know that you're here, you're entered to win. Yay. We're so happy to have you guys here.
So happy to have you join us. Thank you.
And we have our next VIP guest has just appeared into our backstage, so we are really excited to be welcoming her in just a couple minutes. And what's really fun about our next VIP guest is she is not a sex educator. So she comes from, we met in a different way, but she and I just connected like instantaneously. And so I'm really excited to have her coming in and joining us from a very, very different perspective, because we could talk about sex all day long, of course. But she's got a very similar audience and just a warmth. I fell in love with her like instantaneously. So should we do we want to go ahead and welcome her on now? Yeah, I think she's ready.
I just want to just say to everybody, like, so the reason we're asking you to follow us and subscribe is the more that the algorithms see that we're getting likes and follows, the more they're going to promote us and the more they're going to promote women's sexuality. So really it's about getting the word out. And that's why we're really pushing hard for you and everybody and all your friends and your family and your grandma. Yeah, your grandma can listen to us. So like that's why we're doing it, because if we can have everybody come at once and follow us and like us, all of a sudden the social medias and the Spotifys of the world say, hey, let's start promoting them more, and we start getting more eyeballs, and women start having more sex education. So that's why we hope and really appreciate that you take the time to follow us and review us, review our podcast. And also, if you have questions or you listen to our podcast and you think, you know what, you didn't quite say or describe what I needed you to.
Didn't get my question quite answered. I'm wondering something else.
Yeah, if you have anything, just let us know, because we want to hear your questions. And you can email us at sensationalsexpodcast@gmail.com. I know I said that really fast, but that's pretty easy to remember. sensationalsexpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. And we do want to hear from you. And, it's really amazing because we've already recorded 15 episodes. So the first 3 are dropping tomorrow, 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 9 a.m. So we're releasing 3 at once. So you guys can go ahead and binge the first 3. And then we will have 1 releasing every single week after that. We have content planned through the end of 2025. And I'm going to go ahead and thank Dr. Trina for all of that incredible brilliance. But we also want to know what you want to learn about, because we're sharing what we think you want to know about. We're sharing what we think is fascinating and interesting, but we want to know what you want to hear. So please email us, please let us know. And we're already building an episode based on a question that somebody sent me on Facebook. So if you send us a question and we're like, that's a really good question, we think more people might know that, we may very well build an episode around that. So please send us the things that you want to hear about.
It's just important. We just need to know what you want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and welcome our next VIP guest. I love when we run a little bit ahead of schedule. That's very unusual for me. I feel like
it's very usual for me, Amy.
It's not for me at all. I'm such a seat in my pants person. But anyway, so delightful. Well, I am going to go ahead and bring Stephanie O'Day onto the stage to join us. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi,
Stephanie.
It's
Thanks
nice
for coming.
Absolutely. It's always wonderful to see Amy and Dr. Trina. It's very nice to meet you.
It is. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do and who you are. We want to know.
Okay. I never talk about sex. So this is really interesting for me, because I always joke with my friends that I have a very rated G household. So I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I have a new book coming out on slow living, and Amy came onto my slow living podcast, and she and I met in real life during filming season 13 of The Blocks, when she was talking about her her wares, her goods, and her subscription service.
Can I just interrupt you for just a minute here for a sec? Can we just, can you guys just really promote that this got dropped, your TV show got dropped this week. Like, I think we need, so if you keep going, but we need to talk
Yeah.
about this TV show that you were on.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a real thing. Is my phone ringing? So do you ever feel like you hear phantom things? Like when you have children, I feel like I have phantom ringing, so I
There's
apologize.
a little music in the background. That might be what you're hearing.
Oh, I don't know what I'm hearing. But okay. So yes, so season 13 of The Blocks. So I've been working online for 16 years, and the internet is filled with scams. And so when I come across something that isn't a scam, I get very excited. And that is probably why Amy and I vibed so quickly, because she's legit, and it's refreshing. And Wes Bergman is a reality show guy with a beard, and usually they're the kind of like the beard bro marketer guys really turn me off. But he's started this, so he is a reality guy from MTV. Is that right, Amy?
He was on The Real World, like one of the early seasons of The Real World, which I totally watched.
I did watch The Real World.
Yep.
But what season? I wonder if I watched him. He wouldn't have had a beard.
No, I mean, he was young. He was like,
he
wasn't a baby, but he was probably like 19 or 20 or something. He was little.
Okay, I should Google that. So he started reality show wise, but then as like a side hustle kind of thing, started investing in companies and becoming an incubator in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and had a business where people would come and pitch him ideas, and he would decide if he wants to invest in them or incubate them. And then realized that he needed to play on people's egos a little bit much, and people like to see themselves on TV. So let's turn the pitching into a reality show. And so it's essentially a week-long business in a box, and it's like a crash business school, highly immersive. You will learn everything you need to know. And Amy did that and rocked at it. And I was lucky enough to be a judge and a mentor, and got to meet her that way. And so
nice.
So The Blocks is BLOX. It's highly Googleable. Wes Bergman, even though he has a beard and it looks like a bro, he's actually a nice guy.
And Christina, Christina just commented, and Stephanie, I don't know if you remember, but one of the suggestions that you made when I did my pitch to you was, you said, Amy, you need to do a podcast.
Oh,
so thank you.
Well, there you go.
Here we
are.
Very
welcome. Well, so in general, if you can talk about something all day and get so excited that you just feel like you have to talk about it all the time, you should have a podcast. So there you go.
So what have you learned from your podcasting?
What have I learned from it? So I now have 152 episodes out. So I started this in the fall of 2021, and I wanted it as a platform to be able to write a slow living book. So this is my 11th book. So, and it's coming out this month, Slow Living, Cultivating a Life of Purpose in a Hustle Driven World. But I got my start online writing crockpot slow cooker recipes. And that was because I quit work to stay home with my kids, and I needed a legitimate way to make money online. And this was 2008. And so mommy blogging was big. Women, stay-at-home moms, were turning to the internet. I didn't want to write about my children online. I didn't want to share their pictures online. And I knew that recipe sites did very, very well because they have super tight SEO. And so I don't really cook. So I just joked with my husband after too many glasses of wine, I should just do it in my crock pot. So I made a New Year's resolution to use my crockpot slow cooker every day for a year and write about it online. And that site took off and went viral, and ended up on national television, ended up with multiple cookbook deals. Yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed every bitty bit of it until all of a sudden I didn't. And I kind of had this like uncomfortable feeling after, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years, that it felt fake. and it felt phony because
Well,
in order,
I've had, I've had a radio column, I've had newspaper columns, I've had magazine columns, and my experience is you just sort of hit a point and you're done. And I'm not sure why, but like for all of those things that I did, I really loved while I was doing it, and then I was done.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to something else. So I think there's just you kind of hit your level of, this is how many crock pot recipes that I can do, and I can't do another crock pot recipe. I'm toast. So it makes perfect sense.
yeah. Yeah. No, it is. And in order to continue to feed the internet beast,
Yeah.
you really just have to change an ingredient or two and slap on a new name. And so it really started to kind of go against my ethics. Like it
Yeah,
didn't feel
yeah.
correct. Yeah. And then I got fired because one, I didn't want to do it anymore. And two, my publisher and book agents, they wanted me to translate all of my recipes from the crock pot to the pressure cooker because it's essentially the same kind of food. But it didn't work for me. It didn't work for my brain. It didn't work for my body. I like putting food on early in the morning. I'm still caffeinated and coherent, and I can push a button and walk away. And the pressure cooker wants you to cook at nighttime when I'm already cranky and I don't want to cook. And
Yeah.
so that's really when I pivoted to writing and talking about all things slow living. And so I knew in order to prove to my publishers that there was a platform, the best way to do it is to start talking about it. So that's why the Slow Living podcast got started, is I wanted to prove that there were other people interested in learning how to meet their goals, but in a slow, steady, and sustainable way, and not in a hustle, smart goal. You have to do it by this time or you failed way. So that's what I taught at the blocks. That's why Amy and I hit it off. We're both very into time management and scheduling things. So when she came on my podcast and we talked about scheduling sex and texting and sending a Google Calendar invite link, like that's right up my alley.
You just have to find the right medium, right? Like, as long as you get into the right way of doing things, you can like, and so that's the thing for me with sex is every woman is different. How every woman wants to do this is different. And I think women look at how Amy's doing it, and they're like, oh, I don't like to do it that way, or how I do it. And they're like, oh, I certainly don't like to do it that way. So you just have to find the way that works best for you. And it does require some trial and error. But the thing about sex is the whole failing at sex, there's just so much shame attached to like I tried sexting my husband and he laughed at me or something, and like the shame you feel from that rejection is just so personified and visceral that so I'm glad you said that, like thank you for saying that, because it for some women they'll be going, oh, I don't want to schedule and I don't want to do that, sounds terrible, but you know what, it works for a lot of women, and it worked for you, and I'm really glad it works for you, so yay for you.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because in yoga, they tell you to keep your eyes on your own mat. And in school, it's keep your eyes on your own work. So why on earth would you be comparing your bedroom to someone else's? That's kind of creepy.
That's what everybody does.
Yeah.
The number one question I've had over 25 years is how much sex is normal, and how many times I have been asked on talk shows how much sex I'm having. Like, that's just like
so incorrect.
Well, no, but I mean, it's just sort of like, if you're in this profession, then you should be expected to have that question asked of you, right? So like that's just a pretty normal question.
Yeah. So are you allowed to then tell a newscaster? So that's actually highly inappropriate to ask.
I usually turn it around and say, well, if you tell me how much sex you're having, I'll tell you how much sex I'm having. Like and then they shut up. So it took me a few interviews to figure that one out. So that one didn't come instantaneously or spontaneously.
Yeah. Good. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and another thing that just sort of popped to mind as you were talking, Stephanie, is, when we're talking about doing things slowly and deliberately and not trying to just hit this goal or whatever. Like I think that also applies to intimacy, right? People have this ideal in their head of what they think a sex life should be like. But again, if we're all talking about sort of this long-term relationship thing. When you're in the long-term relationship, it's something that's evolving and changing, and if you're sitting there rushing trying to get to this like ideal of whatever it is, rather than just allowing things to develop the way they're going to develop, like a crock pot recipe.
So Amy, what's our tagline, Amy?
Even though your sex life will never be perfect, you can create a sex life that's perfect for you, and we're here to help you with that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that is essentially slow living in a nutshell, is figuring out what's right for you and how to figure out your own version of the American dream. And that's something that a marketer has told you, or society, or your parents, or the lady down the street. It's figuring out what's right for you. And it's interesting. And so since I like long-term goal like planning and development, I like to ask people that I work with, well, where do you see yourself? Where do you see your marriage in 20, 30, 40 years? And have that insight, and like, oh, well, we do this together and we travel and we do this. Okay, so now you have to start like building the stage for
Yeah.
future you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
I think
not
I
all
think
of a
we're-
sudden we'll figure it out when the kids move out. No, that's kind of too late.
Yeah.
I think we're all speaking the same language, even though we're not like on the same topics. We're all speaking the same language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, you've done 152 episodes. That's amazing, and congratulations. That's tenacious and disciplined and focused. Like that's really, really something. And what one or two pieces of advice can you give to Amy and I as we're launching this brand new podcast?
Well, I would like to give you gold stars, because the fact that you batch recorded 15 and have this long runway for yourself is pretty amazeballs. So I am insanely impressed. And Taylor, who I adore, emailed me today and was like, so do you have anything for me to edit? And so I am still... Some days my brain is really bouncy and I can batch record, and other days I'm just not interested and it feels like a chore. And so thankfully I'm now old enough that I understand my ebbing and flowing and how my entrepreneurial brain works, and I know I will just buckle up and do it. So a lot of it is gumption, and I said I was going to do it and I don't fail at things, so I'm just going to have to do it. I have set an alarm and woken up in the middle of the night when the house is asleep so I can have a quiet house to record.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you have little kids, yeah.
That's
Go
next
ahead.
level. Like, no, that's just next
That's-
level. I would
that-
never,
yeah.
ever
No.
wake up in the middle of the night.
I mean, my
do a
sleep.
podcast.
My sleep is so precious.
Yeah.
That's
So-
amazing, though.
Well, so for me, for writing and doing things where I have to concentrate, I can't worry about other humans, and so I need to
Yes.
concentrate. So I got in the practice of going to bed at around 8 and then setting an alarm for midnight, and sometimes working from like midnight to 4. So I have
Wow.
a pocket of time to do things, and then I go back to bed. And now I am most def perimenopausal. So if it's 2:30 and I know I've already slept for 5 hours, I'm not gonna actually fall back asleep. I'm just gonna lie there and stare at the ceiling. So I'd rather get up and get some work done and feel productive in that way.
So you're using perimenopause to your advantage. How clever of you.
So smart.
Yeah. I just want to be miserable in my own misery at 2:30 in the morning.
Wait, where do you live, Dr. Truda?
I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So I
Oh,
live
okay.
right by the Rocky Mountains.
Okay, so what are Canada's laws for gummies? Can you just pop a gummy and go back to bed?
Yeah, so marijuana is legal here.
Oh yeah, there you go. Just have a
we've got
tiny little baby one.
we've got pot shops on every single corner. That's the truth. Like there's more pot shops than there are people here in Canada. So yeah, I can just go down like half a block and
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I do have a bouncy brain, and so I think that's probably why one, I'm drawn to entrepreneurism, and then two, I want to talk about slowing down as much as I do because I could crash and burn if I don't listen to my brain and my body. And I've certainly seen many women do so. So for me, if first off, I am type A, so I will never miss a deadline. But if I have an unrealistic expectation of myself, I now know that it's not healthy to beat myself up in any way. So I know which balls I can drop and they're not going to shatter. But the important ones I always keep up in that air.
Yeah.
that sounds like what that sounds like to me is wisdom that you've cultivated over your lifetime, and I think that's where the juice is in the wisdom.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Well, and I relate. It's about. I've never heard bouncy brain before, but that's exactly what I have. And I'm the same way. When I went back to do my sexology certification, it was so hard for me. I was like, I have to leave the house because if I am worried about the children and if they're watching TV or if they've done that, like I can't sit down and focus. Like I've got to go somewhere. And I'm even like that now. Like I do so much better when I'm someplace else because if I'm trying to split between mom mode and work mode and study mode, it's impossible. So I don't know. I may have to try the 4 a.m. I don't know that I could, but I'll consider it.
Yes.
So I am up every single morning at 5 a.m. and I write for 2 to 3 hours every single morning, and I've done that for ever. And that's just, I guess I'm doing. But the thing is, before I was married, before I had kids, that was what I did in university. I mean, like this is how I've always worked. So
Yeah.
that's my best time.
I think that's the biggest takeaway is you're doing what feels right for you and feels authentic instead of someone else's version of a prescription of what you should be doing. And that's the part that always made me feel bad about myself or made me feel like I was doing something wrong. And that's for me when the shame would come in. But if I tune out the noise and the nonsense of all these other people and their great ideas, like you do you, I'm pretty at peace with what I'm doing.
I think that also comes with age, though. I think, as we get older, we care less about what other people are thinking about us. And if you could be this way when you were 20, can you imagine what you would have accomplished? if
Yeah.
You would just
Yeah.
had this-
Well, so that's essentially, so my oldest is 22, and then I've got a 19-year-old and a 14-year-old. And that's essentially why I wrote the Slow Living book was I wanted a step-by-step guide of this is how you adult properly without freaking out and burning out. And so I wanted to be able to get all of those things out of my brain and write it to them. Um, and so yeah, it's the idea that you can get to wherever it is you want to go, but in a slow, steady, sustainable way, and taking the meandering path. Because if we're lucky, life is long. So why on earth would you want to rush through it in any way? And actually, I mean, and same with sex and like your to-do list and that kind of stuff. Like checking it off the list and just treating it as a chore, okay. Maybe here and there once in a while, but not on the regular because you're cutting yourself short and you're cutting your relationship short.
Well, you're absolutely
100%.
speaking our language. And that's why you should listen to the Sensational Sex podcast, because we're going to tell you like how it can, like you can shift your mindset from it being a chore to being something that you want to have. Like, so how do you make that shift? We're telling you how.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. And I think there's a lot of people who have that kind of I'm not good enough kind of mindset and idea, and have a lot of vulnerability and uncomfortableness when it comes to themselves and their own bodies, and I think helping to share real people's stories, and not manufactured for TV and lots of clicks stories, I think will be very helpful and beneficial to many.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, we have to let you go, Stephanie. I wish we didn't, but thank you so much for joining us. And tell our viewers again where they can find you and your new book that just came out. Share all the awesome things.
You bet. So the title of the book is Slow Living: Cultivating a Life of Purpose in a Hustle-Driven World. It is wherever books are sold. Buy it. My publisher would love that. I would too. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It was very nice to meet you, Dr. Trina.
Yeah,
And
it was really
congratulations.
Thank you. And it was really nice to meet you. And really, best of luck with your book.
Yes,
and 11
absolutely.
books. That's really amazing. So, kudos to you for 152 podcast episodes, 11 books. You're just, wow.
Killing it.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Stephanie.
Absolutely.
And as soon as when this broadcast is over, I'm going to go and snag your book. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Oh my goodness. Love having Stephanie with us. And we've had a couple questions come in, and we've got our next guest who's waiting. So right before we welcome her in, I just a couple things I just wanted to say. If you're just now joining us, if you're watching, make sure you drop a comment so we know that you're here. We are going to be drawing a winner for a prize at the end of this broadcast, but we don't know you're here unless you drop a comment. So please say hi. We've seen a bunch of people coming in, and as you've been dropping comments, I have been writing your names down on little pieces of paper because I'm doing things in a very, very official tech.
She's doing it old school. This is an old school way of doing things.
And make sure you join our 4-day launch challenge. It starts tomorrow, the day that our podcast officially launches tomorrow. Yay! So episodes 1, 2, and 3 are dropping tomorrow. So join the 4-day launch challenge. You can see the link to join it right beneath us. And I've also been posting it in the comments. This is so simple. When you join, there's a WhatsApp group that you can join, or you'll get emails with just these very easy, short little activities that you could do that are going to help our podcast launch to the top and help us get in front of the eyes and ears of the people that need us. So please go ahead and join that. And I promise I've made it really, really easy for you to get rewarded. And you will be rewarded with an incredible gift card from Xsens.
We love Xsens.
Yes, we do. Speaking of, I think our next guest is here. And so we're going to go ahead and welcome her on. I want to see. Oh, okay. I think she's coming. We're going to give her. All right, we'll give her a minute to work on her camera. But we have Rebecca from Xsens coming on, and we are so excited to have her with us.
So why don't we talk a little bit about the Xsens product?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this product. I am all about women's sensuality. I feel like until women tap into their sensuality, it's really difficult for her to, be motivated to have sex. But, so when you have products available that get you out of your brain and into your body, so they have these, and all of their products are they're from France. I mean, what does that say? They're French products, obviously very good quality, but they have things like an arousal kissing gel where you put this arousal kissing gel on your lips, and it goes from warm to cool, and you're kissing your partner with this, and they get the warm and cool, and then you can take this to other parts of the body because it's body safe, it's paraben free, it's 100% organic. I mean, I don't know what more you could want out of an arousal lip gel, but this is it's strawberry or coconut, right? So they've got the flavors too. So you're having like, for me, you're getting all the touch points of sensuality, taste, touch, feel. What are the other ones?
Sight,
smell and hearing. Like, I guess you don't get hearing from it, but I'm sure if XNs could put
when you're
hearing
kissing.
into their kissing, the noise you make when you kiss, I don't know, but for me, it's such a simple way to ignite your body, bring you out of your head and into your body, and then give your partner a little bit of a sensation too. And all you're doing is putting a little dash of lip gel on. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. So Extends has this whole product line of sensuality products similar to that. And, you've got to check this out.
Yeah. Let's bring Rebecca on. She's here.
Okay.
Awesome. So Rebecca, hi, welcome.
Yay, there she is. You made it.
Sorry about that. I was having some trouble with my camera. I'm not sure what happened.
It's Dr. Trina and I joke. It's not really a joke. I don't know. We have tech issues, so if we spread that to you, we're very sorry.
It's totally fine. I wasn't paying attention to the fact that I couldn't see myself because I was having too much fun listening to you guys talk about just like everything. I was enjoying I was enjoying listening, so I was having a little trouble. But anyway, I'm here now, and thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And also, I got to say, I love the Hot Kiss lip gloss too. I really feel like
I just think, like when we look at busy women who don't have time, like you have no time, like you're, and and you want to get in the mood, and but your brain is going like this, and so how do you center yourself?
I
how
feel
do you
like
ground yourself? I mean,
yeah,
what's that?
We definitely need sometimes. I mean, I think like you, I think we're all kind of in the same group. We're working hard. We're dealing with a lot of different things, often multitasking, as we are and as we do. And I think sometimes we need to have a little something that says, all right, I'm going to go and lay one on my partner right now with this. Everyone's out of the room. The kids are asleep. Let's sit down on the couch and make out like we were teenagers. And I think sometimes you need a little excuse, and that's what I really feel like we do at Xsense is we create excuses to have intimate moments, because sometimes you need a little push just to get everything going and have a good time. And I think our products definitely do that. And the lip gloss is a lot of fun for that. Also, it's cool because it fits in your purse. So, if
take it anywhere.
You could take it anywhere. I mean, if wherever that might happen to be, or at your mother-in-law's and you're both in the kitchen, or, you're at the library. I mean, wherever the heck that moment for kissing might happen to arise. It's a fun little thing. And also it feels really nice. It reminds us that we have lips, because it tingles a little bit. So sometimes we need a reminder that we have lips and they're sexy, and they're also for kissing.
But something that I think we take for granted is that, a lot of women don't know how to initiate. Men are trained to initiate, women are trained to respond and be passive players. And when women need to step up and say, you know what, I'm going to take control of this, and I want to, do something that is good for me, but I don't know how to do it. And I'm really shy to do this. I don't know how to initiate this with my partner. And I think
ask for what we want,
and so with Xsense, you've got every product you have is just so easy to incorporate. It's not, I feel like there's not going to be a sense of embarrassment. I think it's going to be more of a sense of excitement, we're going to try this massage oil, aromatherapy massage oil together. And I was just going through your aromatherapy massage oil, and
they're so good. They smell amazing.
I tell the people about the crystals,
these are super fun. And actually the conversation can begin when you guys pick out together which one you're going to try. So it doesn't even have to start. You don't have to arrive with a product and say, let's try this, honey. you can say, hey, let's look at this and maybe pick out. So the cool thing about these is, one, they're organic. They're 100% all natural. Even the perfumes are all natural. And it's something you should know about our products. They're all made in the south of France. They're all vegan. They're all paraben free. They're in Europe. They have all of our products have to be cosmetic certified, and in Europe there's something about like 1,400 different ingredients which are illegal. You can't use them in cosmetics. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you still see me? Mm-hmm. Oh, good. Okay, good. I thought there was something going on. And in the United States, only 2 ingredients are illegal, just to give you an idea. So we really make like super nice, safe for your body, clean products right off the bat. But our massage oils, our crystal massage oils, are like a step above. They're really beautiful.
Oh, no.
There's 5 different ones.
So good too. They smell so good.
Oh, they smell amazing.
Can you just tell us about the 2? Because it's just unbelievable what you've done with the massage oil.
So they're a lovely massage oil that isn't too greasy, so you're not going to have to take a shower afterwards. They have a wonderful little spot on them, so if they fall over in the bed, and I hope that you're in the bed, when they fall over in the bed, and it always falls over, right? It's not going to spill everywhere, so that's really nice.
That's smart.
Yeah, there's the 2 actual massage oils, though we also have some body oils, which work great as massage too. But our 2 massage oils are amethyst, so it has actual amethyst crystals in there. So amethyst is for relaxation and centering. If you believe in the power of crystals, these are like infused with the power of crystals. And the smell is like, I would say it's a kind of a rich mix of kind of a sultry floral with a little bit of a vanilla accent. It's super, super lovely. And then the other one is carnelian. And carnelian is more for like energy and passion. And it's a much more energizing flavor. And this one is also made with apricot oil. So it has an incredible kind of sweet, fruity scent. And I know fruity isn't like usually in my wheelhouse, but this one is amazing. And bizarrely, I find that men specifically adore the smell of the carnelian. I don't know why. But it's super, super nice. On our website, it lists all of the accents and the oils so that you can really tell what's going on in it. But they're wonderful, and I find that these are not edibles. We do a lot of edible products. These are not edibles. If they end up in your mouth, it's not the end of the world. But they're not very tasty. But they smell amazing. But the smell, it's not overwhelming. No. So it's not like Bath and Body Works. You know what I mean? We're like, they're very perfume forward. This one the smell is beautiful, but it's still about you. It's about you and your partner. It's about the time you're spending together. It's not about vanilla or whatever that smell happens to be. And I think they're amazing. Just a simple massage is a great, I hesitate to use the word icebreaker, but sometimes that's where we're at. So it's a great icebreaker for couples, because who's going to say no to a massage? And
not only that, but like something we talk about on our podcast, we've talked about quite a few podcasts, is women have a delayed sexual response. So the longer you've been in a relationship, the more delayed your sexual response is. Meaning when sex is initiated, you don't spontaneously want the sex. That's true. In fact, probably don't want to have sex when it's initiated. You have to like put your body into motions called a responsive desire. So you have to like start doing things to put your body in motion, and your delayed response will catch up to you. And when you are able to, like the thing is, a massage can take 5 minutes, a massage can take 50 minutes, but like if you it's just taking the time to let your delayed sexual response catch up, right? And you're connecting with your partner, and they're touching your body, and you're touching each other, and you're connecting in a really important and fundamental way for you to be able to really capture and be present and sensual and receive the pleasure in your sex. And something I'm going to keep going on and on and on. And something else I'm adamant about is women don't know how to receive pleasure. Like women
Yeah.
it's not, we just assume that receiving pleasure is a natural thing, but it's not. And I feel like the more you and your partner can have a little massage before things happen, you're learning, you're teaching your body to receive this pleasure.
And that sex is not just that moment of penetration, right?
Yes.
Sex
is not
is
just intercourse.
Yeah, exactly. It can be a lot of other things. And also the fact that, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting kind of older. We start to have body issues and we start to worry. There's nothing like a wonderful massage for you to realize that your partner does not care if you've got a little belly. You know what I mean?
They don't.
So they really don't. And so it's nice. It's a nice moment to allow somebody to worship your body.
Yeah.
Which is not something that we as women usually, especially out of our 20s, and I'm making a lot of assumptions here for other people, but we don't usually get worshipped like we used to be, or maybe never were. And so it's nice to allow somebody to do that, and that pushes a lot of buttons that suddenly are like, "Ooh, maybe I'm worthy of this. Maybe I'm worthy of this pleasure."
Worthy.
Yeah, and worthy is a great word for it. You are worthy. And I think, but another part with these oils, and we also have some body oils, is that for me, self-care is the first step towards having good sexual relations, because you start to take care of yourself and your body and treat it like it's important and you're important. And that is the first step to feeling, again, worthy of being adored and of having a beautiful sexual moment with somebody, or by yourself for that matter. Yeah. So I think that it's these oils are really fun. I mean, and basically all of our products are really fun.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
We wanted to make products that allowed people to. We wanted to make something for everyone, and definitely something not scary, and a lot of fun with quality where you didn't have to be afraid, but also that was just encouraging people to explore, have a good time, touch each other, lick each other, go to that place together. So that's really good. And I can't wait. I hope whoever wins goes right to our website and immediately uses the coupon code and get something fun for themselves. I believe there's definitely enough, so you should be able to do that. It should be a fun thing. But
the other thing I wanted to bring up was your water-based lubricant.
Oh yeah, they're very nice.
Is FDA approved. Now, like for the average person, they're like, yeah, so what? But I just don't think people understand that to get an FDA approval on a lubricant it's a lot of work.
Yes.
And the thing about, if you go into a sex shop and you see all the lubricants sitting on the shelf, at least half of it's an unregulated market. So you don't really know, like we're assuming that most companies are going to put out good products, but you don't know. Your water-based lubricant is FDA approved. Can you just explain why that's so important?
Yeah.
Well,
it's not easy.
It's not easy. And it's also fairly recent. It's only been in the last, I think it's a little less than 15 years that the FDA has required that lubricants be FDA cleared. And that means that they hit certain levels of pH and also of osmolality. Osmolality is how much a water-based product will dry out your mucous membranes. And I know that sounds really weird that a lubricant would dry out your vagina, but actually that can happen. And some lubes were made with really substandard ingredients, especially back in the 90s, for example, and they were causing your vaginas to be completely dried out, leaving a space where it was easier to get STDs. It was easier to get, there was a pH imbalance, so you could get a yeast infection very easily, and also uncomfortable sex, which is really weird considering that these were lubes. It was supposed to make sex nicer, right? So luckily, because of what the FDA has done, a lot of lubes have cleaned up their acts. But most lubes made in the United States are still not FDA approved. And I'm not saying that they're all bad. I won't say that at all. Some of them are great. They're just small companies. They're doing their best that they can.
It's a long, expensive process.
It's expensive. I mean, it's expensive, and there's a lot of hoops to jump through. And since we're a French company and we want to import into the United States, we made that decision, and we got our lubricants FDA cleared, and that means extensive testing, a lot of money spent. The FDA isn't cheap. But it is nice. It's a nice thing to know. And it's true, if you are worried about the quality of your lubes, you should go with an FDA cleared lubricant.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. Yeah.
And you should be worried about the quality of your lubes because that is going inside your body in your most sensitive area.
Yes.
And it is very easy to mess up that delicate pH, all of that stuff. So
it absorbs right into your body because you don't realize this, but your vagina and also your anus, let's be honest here, and your mouth, all of these places have mucous membranes in them that absorb immediately into the body. So any kind of nasty, for example, the jury's still out on parabens, but the studies that have been done are pretty scary. Any lube that has parabens in it, we should probably not be using it. Err on the side of caution. You know what I mean? You don't need those things in your body. So it's definitely something to be careful of. But that said, our lubes are other things as well. They last a long time. They're easy cleanup. They don't leave any kind of dry residue when they dry up.
So can we just go? Can we circle back to the it lasts a long time? So some people who might not have tried lubricant, a lot of times with water-based lubricant, it's good for 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah, and then it starts to lose its viscosity. Yeah. So when you say that it's lasting a long time,
it doesn't absorb as quickly into your body. Yeah. So ultimately, most of the ingredients in lubricant are moisturizers, basically. So, and what you want to have is like one that's going to remain on the surface of your skin and on the surface of your mucous membranes and won't be absorbed as quickly into your body, which you would have to reapply. However, that said, reapply lube. I am always like, it's so funny when you read the the instructions for lube, and they're like, apply a nickel-sized amount of lubricant. I'm always like, what? I say, go to town. It's so silly. It's like, what are you going to do with a nickel size of lube? It's like, it's already, hopefully, your sexy times are going to be a little messy. It's going to be good. So go for it. I say go for it. You can always reapply, which is not a problem. But you do want one, especially if you're going to be using it for anal sex. You definitely, I wouldn't suggest a water-based lube. It would absorb too quickly. Silicone is really the way to go, or maybe an oil base if you're not using a condom. Yeah. But you want one that's going to last and last and last for a long time, and that's really, that's really good. I find that glycerin-free lubes tend to absorb a little faster, so you definitely are going to have to apply more at some point, and then silicone lubes will last quite a bit. There's some really good ones. Uber Lube is a great silicone lube, for example. We don't make a silicone lube, but they're wonderful too. I highly suggest lube. Everyone should try it.
100%.
It's really fun. And mix it up. Lube with an arousal gel, really great. Can be a lot of fun. Lube for hand job, and your hand job game is already really strong. Lube will just take it to a whole nother level. And it can be a lot of fun too if you're using like a flavored lube. Like we have some really nice flavored lubes, and then hand jobs you can get a little
raspberry.
messy. Yeah, raspberry is very good. It tastes like candy. It's crazy. And we also have an apple teeny one, which is really like super yummy. It tastes like apples. We're really big on flavors at Xsense because you should not have anything in your mouth when you're having sex. It's going to be like a bitter aftertaste or anything like this. We want it to be you're just tasting your partner and some yummy coconut or, vanilla or, Sex on the Beach flavor, whatever it happens to be. So these are the
I want to
important
be at
things.
your product meetings, like coming up with product ideas. Let's do a sex
What
on the
flavor?
beach lube because that's
Yeah.
sounds
We
really
had, it's one of our most popular flavors, I must say. Yeah, we're working on some new products right now. It's not easy. We're really picky. France just sent us a whole bunch of, all of our products are made in France. I think I said that, but they just sent us some flavors and we were like, no, they're not good enough. So we're really rough on them. But we're looking at one is a let's see, barba papa. How do you say that in English? What is the stuff that you get at the fair and it's like spun sugar?
cotton
Candy.
Cotton candy. Thank you very much. I have a cotton candy flavor that they're trying. We have a pear flavor that we're trying.
Yeah,
So
I love pear.
Oh, I think I'd like the pear.
Yeah, right. I'm big on pear.
As someone who sold intimacy products for many, many years, we had a pear flavored lubricant that was definitely a bestseller. So I'm putting in a vote for pear.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, once we get the flavor fixed, it should come out. So we'll see how it goes. It should be really nice. You might like our apple one then. It's actually, I think you might like that as well in the meantime. But, and it's fun. I mean, we also have our warming massage gels, which are like for massage, okay? It's not real massage, not like our crystal massage oils. It's more for like sexy massage. You can rub it on and blow on it and have it heat up. And then
warms up,
Yeah, so those are a lot of fun. And what's fun is also mixing and matching flavors. So you can take like some easy ones. Hot vanilla and strawberry together is like strawberry shortcake.
Yum.
I just never would have thought of this. Like I never would have put the two together, but now I'm inspired.
I love this. Let me think. Our fall one, which is starting right now, is I think it's our ginger lychee arousal gel with our apple lubricant. So it's like an apple cider kind of flavor.
Do you think you guys have like a wine and cheese pairing, but it's like a lubricant and arousal gel pairing? It's like it's like with the with Jelly Bellies,
We were 8 of us around the table trying flavors and mixing things. We had a big whiteboard. We were writing down our flavor ideas. Yeah, we do this. We do this often. It can be a fun job.
Yeah, we just had a question/suggestion come through. Rebecca, Jessica said, "What about a sample pack of miniature flavors so you can taste what you like?"
Well, interesting that you say that because that exists. We have, we do these little foil packs of our warming massage, and there's just sorry, I'm all blurred out, but they're about 3 milliliters, so there's just enough for a good try. And it comes with all of our flavors together, so you can mix them up and try them out as you like, and also decide which flavors you like. So that's a fun thing also to do with your partner. Is get the foil pack. I think it's $10 for 6 foils, and then try them all out. You know what I mean? You don't even have to do it in the bedroom. You can start somewhere else. And then maybe it ends up in the bedroom. You never know. Because then you want to see, well, what's the effect? You try it on your hand and then you're like, might be really interesting somewhere else. Let's go take your pants off, So this can be a fun thing. The foil packs are one of our best sellers. On Amazon, they are bar none our best seller. So all of our products are also available on Amazon.
Awesome. Rebecca, can you tell everybody about your exciting fall giveaway?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. So one fun thing that we do a couple of times a year is we partner with a sex toy brand that we really like. And we put together little kits with their toys and our products. And then we do a sweepstakes and we give away the kits. And right now we're doing one with 4 different products from a brand that is not very well known in the United States, but I love them, called Iroha. And they are the female side of Tenga, which is a very male-oriented Japanese brand that does what's called Ona cups. I don't know if you've ever heard of these, but they're basically male masturbators. It's like a little you put your dick in a can kind of thing. And theirs are fun too. They're fun, and not just for guys alone. But the Iroha line from Tenga is, she's got one. She's got one. And I have to say, honestly, in this genre, Tenga makes the prettiest ones. They're really beautiful. Their design is like off the charts. So if you're interested, it makes me wish I had a penis, kind of, like.
And they're pre-lubed too.
Yeah.
Pre-lubed
and really, really pretty. So they also make a female kind of vibrator line called Iroha, and they look like little Japanese cakes. And they are super soft and cushy and just beautiful and really nice. So we've taken these 4 different vibrators, we mix them with our products. If you go on our website, the first banner right there is for the sweepstakes. Click on it, and you can see the 4 different groups, and also just sign up. I mean, what the heck? It's pretty easy, and they're always nice. It's really a very fun thing to do these giveaways, and we love. There's so many wonderful sex toy brands out there. That not many people know of, that make just beautiful products. And so we love to partner up. So this is a really cool thing. I think you've got until, I believe it's the 26th of September. I believe that's when you're charged. Yeah.
If I may, so all you have to do is go to xsens-usa.com to enter.
I already dropped it in the comments there.
Oh, cool. There you go.
Contest ends September 27th. Then there's 4 bundles of Xsens and Iroha products. Mm-hmm. Each bundle is worth over $175 each. So it's like a really sweet prize, and all you have to do is enter. So I would just think.
Oh, sorry. They're great bundles. We never stint on the product. There's a lot of nice stuff. Yeah.
They're just beautiful. And, so I think like after following our podcast, after following us, go to xsens-usa.com to enter. Why not? You could have this come to your doorstep, and then just imagine how much fun that would be to get that prize on your doorstep. I know what my husband would say. What would your husband say, Amy?
We would open it, and he would be like, "Upstairs we go." So
my poor husband has had to try so many sex toys over the years.
Oh, that poor guy.
Mine too.
I'm crying for him.
The product tester. Oh no, this is a new product. This is a new flavor. We have to try it because I have to be able to tell. Because and I'm sure I shouldn't assume, but I will say. Again, as someone who's sold products for so many years, the things that I sold the best were absolutely the things that were my favorites. And so, and I wouldn't say this is my favorite, but the way that I presented it was abundantly clear. So
trying is buying, as they say. So that's completely true. I have to be honest. In the very beginning, we had so many toys came home with me. It was like ridiculous. And then we got burned out. I mean, I've been in the industry, for quite a while. Amy used, me 20 years. And I got really burned out at one point. He did too, poor guy. And we just stopped using anything at all. And then slowly but surely, the things that we really liked would come out of the drawer. They would be a little bit of a deal. And so, but now I just make sure every single one of my girlfriends has sex toys.
You're the supplier.
I'm the supplier. I'm like the sex toy fairy. So, and definitely lube and warming massage and everything. That's a given. I mean, hostess gift. I know my way around a hostess gift, and it's always a naughty hostess gift.
Bet everybody invites you to whatever party they're having.
The white elephant parties. I get invited to every white elephant party, and they know that I usually bring 2 different toys, and it's so funny because they get opened. I don't know if this happens for you, Rebecca. They get opened, and there's usually and it takes a second, but the first person who steals it, once it gets stolen, then that thing is stolen, bam, 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 bam. Everyone's a little embarrassed to steal it at first, but then once the glass is cracked or whatever, then it's like a free
and it's fine. Yeah, I have to be honest. Also, if they see that you're not freaked out, then they're like, okay, yeah, it's totally fine. I have to be honest, in the last like 2 decades, it's changed a lot. Like, it was very interesting. You were talking about people asking you, well, how much sex do you have? Which is just so invasive. But anyway, but I know exactly what you're talking about. People just assume my sex life must be off the charts, like, full bondage and like 7 people in my bed or whatever.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe the things people say to me sometimes. And I'm like, no, I'm just a regular woman.
Yeah, no,
I just
the
can say
things that I know
clitoris.
about people, you just like, and the things you don't expect to come out of people's mouths, and no judgments. It's just,
No.
like I'm at this party, and like, so, and anyways, it's an interesting job. Now that now you've been doing this for 20 years, what is your best piece of advice for somebody who's in a long-term relationship and wants to connect with their partner, and just maybe they're in a season of life like kids or perimenopause, or like they're just there and they just like their libido's flatline? What would you say to them?
I say the best thing to do is talk about it outside of the bedroom. Yep. For me, it's like when you're naked and in bed together, the pressure is so intense. And it's really
and the rejection
easy.
is so high too, right? Like the rejection is high.
The rejection is high, and also it's very easy for the other person to immediately assume that you are criticizing them. And whereas if you seriously at breakfast on a Saturday morning say, listen, I've been thinking about this. What if we did this? Or I was listening to this podcast, Sensational Sex, and they were talking about this, and isn't that, but what if we tried that, and and it's a much better time to, I think, start that conversation. And then sometimes you gotta get it on the books, make a date night is a real thing. And so say, let's buy this, or let's get this, or let's just do this and make a date. And I think it's also that same place. I think honestly, the suggestion is say it all at the breakfast table. What do you like? Sometimes it's important to ask that question. I mean, I've been married to my husband for since 2001, and what we like has changed over those years. Yes. So, and also our bodies are not the same. You know what I mean? Like my legs just don't do the things that they used to do.
Like that, my hip. Okay, I'm like that's okay. You gotta put the leg down. My hip is not doing that anymore. I'm sorry.
So I think it's good also to say, I really want to talk about what you like, and here's what I like. And I think it's important also to lead a little bit with what you like and to get them really to talk. And I think that getting that conversation started can be really hard, but once it starts, and then
so just add to what you're saying is something I really am hoping is that couples, both men and women, listen to our podcast, because although we're talking to women, I feel strongly that if a couple listens to it together, they're going to both be hearing the same information, and suddenly they have a focal point to talk. It's like, okay, so here, to start having a healthy conversation about our evolving sex life, because you're right, the sex you want when you are dating or married or post-menopausal, like our sexuality changes so much, our bodies and everything changes so much, but our sex stays the same. And we have to make sure our sexuality evolves with us as people and us as a couple. And if you listen to our podcast, I feel like that's a really great jumping off point to have that Saturday conversation, breakfast conversation with your significant other.
It is it's an icebreaker. Again, I guess I like that term. It's a definite icebreaker. And sometimes you really just need something. It's really hard to get that first sentence out, and you've got to be brave and just say, hey, I've been thinking about this, and it's easy. It's hard to say when you're like, oh, it's Janice from down the street. That can cause some stories. It's better to use us. Use Amy and Dr. Trina because
I always say, they're like, how do I bring it up? I'm like, you know what? I was like, you can throw me under the bus.
Exactly.
Like, I can be your excuse. Well, Amy said, well, I heard on this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, something like that. It doesn't have to be, well, I have this thought on my head and I'm not really sure like what you're going to think about it. I'm like, look, use me. Like, I'm happy to be the person. Use us, use the podcast, use these things to help instigate those conversations. Inspire.
All you need is an excuse sometimes to get things going again. Like, that's what I call our warming massage oils. It's an excuse. Yeah. You're not going to smear yourself with mint mojito flavored warming massage for 3 hours straight. You're hey, no judgments, okay? But probably not. But the truth of the matter is maybe you're only going to use it for the first 10 minutes of the time that you were together. And then afterwards, you don't need it anymore. It's almost like a crutch. You know what I mean? But it's an excuse to get things going. And then you're off to the races. You can do it. Sorry,
Nice.
Menopause, so I'm having a little hot flash. Yeah, but it's really, I think that these are the important things, is to just get that conversation started and then see where it goes. I mean, it's really, despite what everybody says, sex is really important in a relationship. And if you want to,
we're going to be doing one of our, we don't know the answer, but we'll try our best. The question is sex necessary in a marriage? And it's a hard question. Anyway, so that's one of our it's going to come in 2025, but I'm already starting to think about that episode, because it's everybody's got a different answer for that.
Yeah,
100%. And also, I think it's a little difficult because there's so many other things that can be happening. Like, I mean, I've done at one point I was doing a lot of work with people who were going through cancer treatment and different sicknesses and things like this. I mean, there's definitely a lot of, what's the situation? What's the context?
Yeah.
That's my addition to the question. What's the context?
Yeah. And that's a topic that I love to talk about, and we can't even remotely dive into that one right now. But as
that's a podcast right there.
yeah. But there's ways of maintaining intimacy if sexual intimacy is off the table for some period of time. So it's finding those ways to. I had breast cancer 7 years ago.
Use Xsense products to just go to xsense-usa.com and pick up the sensuality products, because that's going to keep you going through.
Absolutely.
True, but and also through the times when penetration isn't possible. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to work around.
Yeah.
Sometimes find a new way.
Yeah.
Sometimes intercourse has to come off the table, and you can still have amazing intimacy.
Completely.
Intercourse. Super important.
IWI.
I agree completely. That's a good point. All right, cool. All right. You guys, I could talk to you.
I know. we all fell in love with each other when we had our conversation, but we're so glad to have you here, Rebecca, and we're so grateful to have Xsense sponsoring our podcast. And
thank you so much. We really appreciate your support.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
It is. And if you guys want to win a gift card from Xsense, join our 4-day launch challenge. I just dropped the link into the comments again, and you can also see it right here. So join the 4-day launch challenge. It starts tomorrow, and it's very easy, simple. You'll just get a couple very quick, easy little activities to do each day. Every single activity that you do, you're going to earn some points. The person who has the most points at the end of the challenge will win the Extends gift card. We will be announcing that winner on Monday. So we're really excited to see who's going to get to go shopping on the Extends website.
Yes, very cool. And it's, definitely enough to get you a little something, something. So it's really excellent. And please, everyone just go and sign up for our giveaway. You lose nothing, and man, it's a good giveaway. All of our giveaways are excellent, but I really love Iroha products, and these are all great bundles. So go and sign up on our website, xns-usa.com. You can find us there, or you can find us on Amazon. And I hope you find something you like. It'd be nice.
It's impossible not to. Not to. Well,
thank you very
Rebecca,
much
for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Rebecca.
It was definitely my pleasure. Thank you so much, Amy and Dr. Trina. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, this has been quite the launch party. Thanks to so many of you guys who joined us. So if you have dropped a comment throughout the course of our live today, I've been writing your names down, and one of you lucky ladies is going to be winning a prize. So I'm going to draw somebody in just a minute. But if you are still watching and if you've not dropped a comment, this is your last chance to be entered to win a gift card to my shop, suburbanintimacyshop.com. So I also have a really nice line of toys, lubes. That's not my personal line, but things that I recommend as a sexologist. So I've got a gift card for you. But tomorrow morning is the big day that we've been working so hard for so long to give you guys just all of this incredible information and learning. And we want you to be able to experience the sex life that's perfect for you. So we're so excited to have you. So go ahead right now while you're thinking about it. Go to your favorite podcast platform. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. There's like so many, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts, I guarantee you that we are on there. And you can subscribe to us right now because I have a little trailer episode. But tomorrow morning, our first 3 episodes are going to launch. And we're so excited for you to listen. So please go ahead and subscribe and share this with your friends.
Thank you for subscribing and following. We really appreciate your support.
Absolutely. And then just one last thing, make sure you join that 4-day launch challenge that also starts tomorrow. So I'll put that link into the comments one more time. And we are just grateful to have you guys with us. We're grateful for your help as we launch our podcast. And we are just really excited to have you guys on this journey with us. So
yeah, and we talked about if you have any questions. We also like to hear your feedback. So, if you liked an episode, or you thought we could do better, we are evolving as a podcast. So your comments really do matter, and if you can take the time to give us a review on our podcast once they drop, the reviews just mean so much. So rate us, review us, send us your ideas and comments at sensationalsexpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And we've heard it all.
Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing we haven't heard.
No, there isn't. There isn't. I have not been surprised in many years. I would, it would be so interesting if somebody could surprise me. But even we want to hear it. We want to know what you want to know. We want to know what you think. And we are a new podcast, so we are evolving. But as we record, we're getting better every day. And we are, like I said, we already have 15 episodes in the can, ready to go. So we are so excited to bring those in front of your ears. Should we draw our winner?
I think we should. Who is the lucky person?
Okay, so I wrote down everybody my little pieces of paper in my very. Dr. Trina knows I am a very tech person, so this is very 1983. But hey, I was born in the 70s. So anyway, all right, here is our winner. I'm going to draw one of these pieces of paper, and I've got it right here. And the winner is, and I will post it in the comments. It is Tessa. Congratulations,
Yay!
Tessa. What?
Congratulations, Tessa. Yay!
Congratulations, Tessa Turner. So you have won a Suburban Intimacy gift card. So
Nice.
I will be tagging you about that and reach out. And thank you for joining. And for every single one of you guys who joined us on this broadcast today, thank you. We're happy to have you. And we are looking forward to just to you guys listening and learning and being a part of this with us.
Yeah. Thanks for being part of our community. We really
Yes.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to sign off, but everyone have a phenomenal night. And tomorrow morning, open up that podcast app and listen to the Sensational Sex podcast.